Hello, my name is Ross Miola, and welcome to part 4 of Other People's Experiences at University Behavioral Center. Let's begin. A year ago, arrived my ambulance on Friday and was already having tremors, etc. Incredibly, it took until 2200 to receive any medication. By that time, I could barely walk. Any other reputable facility would have dealt with that immediately after a blood test, of course. Plus the kind of boot camp attitude, screaming in the hall, etc. I will discuss all this with the patient advocate at Lake Nona. Now, I emphasize that because I have also brought my concerns about that fucking facility to those people, and they didn't give a shit. They dismissed it as fucking crazy talk. Anyway, a year ago, why they never answer the phone on the Harmony Bay area. Harmony is where they keep their most dangerous, violent patients. I can't talk to a doctor or someone that can tell my or update me on my son's condition. I understand it is not an easy job taking mental health patients, but families are suffering and they also need feedback. It is so hard not knowing and not able to reach to someone. A year ago, I had a friend that went here and the doctors were very rude to him. They did not help him at all. Being there actually made him feel worse. Dr. Abbas, and he was my fucking doctor too, was absolutely terrible. He did not listen to him at all and did not allow him to even talk. I would not recommend this facility. The group activities had nothing to do with this issue. When he spoke with them about it, they ignored him. A year ago, UBC, oh UBC, I can never seem to forget you. No, that is not a good thing. Well, not exactly a bad thing either. In all honesty, there are staff here that genuinely care about the patients outside of the obvious monetary gain. However, usually you'll get the bad staff. The people who are nice for 2 weeks then decide to pull a 180 and suddenly treat you poorly. The staff that are so finicky, finding out if you can even see your therapist is a battle. That, and do not get me started on the odd one-off things that you never think about until long after, like how some patients require urine samples every day. Liquid gold is what they call it. It's a shady practice. Many Florida help centers use it to make extra bucks. Again, there are staff there that genuinely care about the clientele. Those that do try to help do the best with what they got. Sadly, the facility as a whole is not worth sending your loved one to. In fact, I'll one up any past and future reviews with this. If you have a loved one that is in need of help from a facility, do not look in Florida. This state is literally one of the worst in terms of mental health care. Spend the extra bucks to send them to a place up north, and please do research on every possible location. The well-being of your family is always worth the extra money. Don't be that guy who prefers pricing to quality, because then you are just setting both of yourselves up for disaster. A year ago. Stayed here over 3 years ago, and this place still haunts my thoughts and dreams. Brought in over a drug-induced psychosis from bad weed. I was treated like a prisoner there for 3 weeks, forced to take unnecessary medicine that basically just sedated me. Locked inside my room alone, had to ask permission to even use my bathroom. Was not allowed outside time, which to my knowledge, outside is one of the best therapies you could have for a person. Absolute living nightmare. I left that place 100% worse than I did coming in. They kept me there till my insurance stopped paying, basically. Today I live a normal prescription-free life. I hope to spread awareness about this awful and corrupt hellhole that has zero sympathy for the mentally ill. They should be ashamed of themselves. Do not send your loved ones here. Horrible place. My son was Baker acted, and even after it was rescinded, they kept him there. A year ago, translated by Google. If you do not have suicidal ideas, they cannot assist you. That is, they take me to seek help to not reach that point, and they do not intern you for that. I think that if I get to that point, the least I would do is seek from you depression, anger, and substances. Will not let any patient seek help because they will not be thanks for letting me go when I am looking for help, and if something happens with, I hope they close forever since they don't help when it's needed. Before a misfortune happens on my part, 0% thumbs down. People like that should be treated immediately. Location 2500 Discovery Drive, Florida 32826. Again, that was translated from Spanish. 2 years ago, our daughter was placed in this facility through the Baker Act. She was escorted via police officer as we followed close behind. We were horrified, lost, extremely vulnerable at this point. Upon intake, we explained that we had no insurance. We were told by the evening manager on duty that that wasn't a problem as she was being Baker acted. The place was in utter chaos. A woman came in and left 45 minutes later with an apparent overdose. That right there should have been our red flag to leave, to run, to never look back. However, the situation at hand left us with basically no choice. We were told that she would be put on medication, which would be regulated by a psychiatrist. This was hard to find because most were months and months out. The first day went by and we spoke to a daughter who said she was doing better and was attending classes. That afternoon, we spoke to the charge nurse who told us that the psychiatry just wasn't ready to give or medicine yet. Little did we know it was because we didn't have insurance and we were self-pay. The next day went the same. However, this time our daughter called and asked why we were allowing them to give her meds. Mind you, this was after they had diagnosed her with very severe mental disorders, yes, plural disorders. The third day we spoke to her daughter and she expressing to us that she was unable to sleep at night. Not only did they not give her any medication again, but they allowed her out of her room and allowed her to help fold things and do minor duties that the evening staff performed. This is when my husband and I decided it would be in her best interest to be removed from this facility immediately. Although she had only been there less than 72 hours with no medication and very little sleep thanks to them, they had her discharged quicker than she was processed. There's more. Fast forward a few weeks later when I opened the bill from them stating that our balance is in the upwards of $7,000. You do the math, less than 72 hours, no medication, no sleep, worse than ever. I beg you at all costs to run from this location and any there other associated with. Trust me, I am not the only one. Do your research, and although it might seem difficult, understand that this is not the only option. I should give this place a 1, but I'm going to give them a 3 because there were certain people in the building that actually care about you. I would give it a 1 because they do not let you sleep at all through the day, which is understandable for depressed people. And they don't like to video camera you in your own room, which is cool, but that's pretty basic. They just don't want you to die in your room for a lawsuit. Anywho, food is decent, coffee decent, tea all day when it comes to therapy. The group therapist is awesome, very intellectually inclined. She is an awesome lady. For 2 days we had a substitute therapist and group. This guy was a piece of expletive. He could barely spell, let me rephrase myself, he could not spell. Assumption, this is deplorable. I would like to repeat, deplorable. Otherwise therapy was fine, but when I asked the therapist and I asked the psychiatrist for personal one-on-one therapy, I was told there's absolutely no one-on-one therapy in the entire building. I like to repeat, there is no one-on-one therapy in a crisis unit. I should give this place of 1, but like I said, some people care about you. They're my last offense to put onto a person's name without the name being mentioned. When I left after being very suicidal for 8 days, I stayed. They let me leave when I claimed I would still hurt myself. If I leave this building now, listen, on my last sheet of paper that I signed, marked down and signed that I had suicidal thoughts. The same exact day that I was released, I slit my arm open with a box cutter razor and had 24 stitches. Don't go to this place unless you want a good talk and a lot of meds. End of story. Oh, I would also like to mention that one staff member was reported by a client and I visually watched this happen. This staff member was playing footsie with a girl 2 days in a row instead of listening to a client's feelings and trying to cope with their emotions. He was placed somewhere else, so it looked like he was fired, but he was replaced in the same unit after the accuser was almost discharged. And he was replaced into the unit with the same girl that he was playing footsie with. This is irate, and this would... Hold on. With this is irate, and this would deserve a negative 5.5 on my rating, and personally I wanted to punch the motherfucker in his face. Other than that, there are great people people everywhere in the world, and there are great people working at UBC, most of them okay, maybe just a portion that will be all. 2 years ago, some of the staff were nice, the ones that worked with you hands-on, but I was misled on purpose by the psychiatrist, Dr. Abbas, fucking piece of garbage, what a piece of shit. I should have only been there for 3 days, but almost spent a week because of him. I didn't go there to be psychologically messed with. I have a therapist to help me fix my issues, but he would state the possibility of me leaving one day, and of course the next day when he told me I was leaving, a different day. That happened to me too. It made me even more upset. He kept telling me, and I'm quoting, "You are hoping to leave," end quote, and I shouldn't expect to leave because obviously you don't get everything you want. I know that. But I didn't need to be there any longer. I have ADHD, not to mention very bad ADHD along with depression. And I tried to explain over and over I was not upset just because I wanted to leave, but because there was barely any mental stimulation for me and it was making me more depressed being there. I honestly hope Dr. Abbas doesn't work here anymore because he obviously, hold on one second. Because he obviously does not understand mentally disabled people and tries to treat them as if they are somebody without mental ailments, which is not how you should be handling things because mentally ill brains don't function the same way. The only thing that kept me out of my depression were the other patients, give or take some of the staff, and seeing some of the more stable people being stuck there was horrible. But it was even worse seeing other patients be discharged quickly given the chance they were assigned to the other doctor, which was only assigned to 1 or 2 people while everybody else got Dr. Abbas. If these people really care about the mentally ill, they will fix the problem with their doctors instead of damaging and traumatizing already mentally disabled people who probably have already been traumatized enough. I would also not be surprised if this has something to do with insurance money as well, because my mom is paying a load of money that she should not be paying and has to delay surgeries I need to get. 2 years ago, woke up with a black eye here. Nobody could tell me how or when, even with cameras on every corner. Good luck at your stay here. This was 2017, but being my one and only stay at any place like this, I felt the need to write a review for anyone who has kids going here. Be warned. 2 years ago, I was brought here wrongfully. The staff is really bad and security sucks. They don't even help you get through whatever you're going through. They just ask you the reason why you're there and they write it down and then let you go after 72 hours. They don't give advice or anything. They just ask and let you go. All right. Here, we're going to go ahead and pull up University Behavioral Center on Google real quick. And then I'm going to show you, just in case people want to say that they don't believe me. My review will not publicly post. I wrote a review and it won't publicly post, but I'll go ahead and read it to you right now. One of your staff violated my HIPAA rights on 11 August 2021. I never signed the ROI. However, I'm going to answer, and I'm quoting the question that this person asked my sister. Is he telling the truth? End quote. With some YouTube links, a couple images. The first image shows a piece of paper that has the hall I was assigned to. These people have lied about what hall I was assigned to, and that paper clearly says Harmony on it. I am a veteran, and veterans are not supposed to be housed with civilians in that setting. The second image shows the Augusta ME Police Department calling me late at night. There's a YouTube link about Sergeant Shaw at the Augusta Maine Police Department committing a felony with my property. There's a link with the Augusta Maine Police Department being illegally parked in a private parking lot across the street from my hotel, or my apartment rather, in Maine. They were stalking me. I had voluntarily surrendered my weapon for safekeeping, and the police tampered with it. I've got fingerprints sealed underneath clear packing tape. There's a link for that too. I have email traffic between me and their information officer, Staff Sergeant Jesse Brand, where I request all kinds of items pertaining to body cam footage and audio, and 90% of it was declined. Again, I never signed the ROI that gives you permission to call my family and discuss my medical issues with them. None of your staff asked me to show proof of my claims and even denied looking at it when I tried to present it to them. I showed this stuff to the ER staff at Lake Nona and they still sent me to your fucked up facility. You had no right asking my sister those questions. The VA had no right sending me there. As you can see, they have a nice... They've got a 2.1 average review. They're garbage. My name's Ross Miola. Thank you for listening to part 4 of other people's experiences at University Behavioral Center. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Thank you. Have a nice day.